Ladies and gentlemen, life is a journey, not a destination. We often get caught up in looking at others, measuring our progress against their milestones, and questioning whether we are on the right path. But the truth is, each person's journey is unique. It is not about racing against others, but about moving at your own pace, finding your rhythm, and walking towards your own goals. You need to focus on your own path and trust that every step you take, no matter how small, is leading you somewhere meaningful. Focus on your journey, not on others' progress. In the modern world, it is easy to get distracted by what everyone else is doing. We constantly see people on social media achieving milestones and living their best lives. It is natural to compare ourselves to others, but this comparison can quickly lead to feelings of inadequacy and frustration. Instead of focusing on others' journeys, it is important to redirect that energy back to your own. When you focus on your journey, you begin to understand that everyone's path is different. What works for someone else may not work for you. Your journey is unique to you, and comparing it to someone else's only creates unnecessary pressure. The truth is, you are not meant to walk in anyone else's shoes. The beauty of life is that each person has their own set of experiences, challenges, and successes. Focusing on your own journey allows you to appreciate your individual growth and development. We all have different timelines. Some people might reach their goals early in life, while others may take longer, and that's okay. It is important to recognize that the timeline of your journey is yours to control. No one else has the power to dictate how quickly or slowly you should move forward. The key is to stay focused on your goals and trust that you will reach them at the right time for you. You might feel pressured when you see others succeed, but remember, their success does not diminish your potential. It is easy to get caught up in the illusion that someone else's success means that you are falling behind. But that's not true. Everyone has their own struggles, and just because someone else's struggles aren't visible doesn't mean they don't have them. Focus on your own growth and understand that your journey is just as valuable as anyone else's. When you focus on your own journey, you give yourself permission to grow at your own pace. You allow yourself the space to make mistakes, learn from them, and continue moving forward. This is where real progress happens, in the small, sometimes unnoticed steps, in the moments of failure that lead to success, and in the quiet confidence that builds as you walk toward your goals. It is also important to acknowledge that focusing on your journey means staying true to yourself. You are not just following a path, you are actively shaping it. The decisions you make today will impact your future, and when you focus on your journey, you are taking responsibility for your own choices. This sense of ownership will build your confidence and empower you to keep moving forward, no matter what obstacles come your way. Focusing on your journey helps you build a deeper connection to your purpose. When you stop looking around and start looking within, you begin to discover what truly matters to you. You start to understand your values, your passions, and your dreams, and you begin to take the steps necessary to turn those into reality. So, rather than focusing on the journey of others, focus on your own and trust that it will lead you exactly where you need to go. When you embrace the idea that your path is unique, you allow yourself the freedom to move at your own pace. In a world that often celebrates speed and instant gratification, it can be difficult to remember that not everything worth achieving is rushed. Life is not a race, and the more we can internalize this truth, the more content we will be with our own progress. Moving at your own pace means understanding that your journey is not meant to look like anyone else's. It is filled with moments of growth, of discovery, of challenges, and of triumphs that will shape you in ways only your experiences can. Many of us fall into the trap of feeling like we are falling behind because we aren't achieving things as quickly as others. Social media, the media in general, and even our own circles of friends or colleagues can make us feel like we should be doing more, going further, achieving bigger things. It creates an illusion that everyone around us is racing ahead, leaving us behind. This feeling is often not grounded in reality, but in comparison. We start to think that because someone else has hit a certain milestone earlier, it somehow means we are late to the party. However, the truth is that each person's journey is fundamentally different, and everyone has their own time to shine. When you begin to focus on your own pace, you start to realize that speed is not always an indicator of success. In fact, sometimes it is the slow, steady progress that leads to more sustainable growth and deeper learning. If we rush through our experiences or try to skip the necessary steps, we miss out on critical learning moments. Each step we take, no matter how small, is a step that is leading us toward a deeper understanding of ourselves and our world. And that is what matters most. Success isn't just about achieving a goal. It is about the lessons you learn along the way and how you evolve as a person in the process. It is also important to realize that when we stop comparing ourselves to others, we remove the pressure that often weighs us down. We begin to celebrate our progress, however small it may seem, and recognize that we are moving forward on our terms. It might not look like someone else's version of success, but that does not make it any less valid. It is easy to get caught up in the idea that progress has to look a certain way, that it has to be quick, loud, and visible. But real progress is quiet, it is internal, and it happens in the moments when we learn to trust our own instincts and trust the pace at which we move. Moving at your own pace also allows you to honor your own energy. Not everyone has the same capacity, and trying to match someone else's speed can lead to burnout. Understanding your limits and working within them not only helps preserve your mental and physical well-being, but also ensures that the progress you make is sustainable. When you move at your own pace, you are giving yourself the grace to rest when needed, to recharge when necessary, and to keep going when you are ready. You are in tune with yourself, your needs, and your goals, and you are able to pursue them in a way that feels natural and authentic to who you are. There is also a sense of peace that comes with moving at your own pace. The world can be overwhelming, and when we constantly try to keep up with the noise around us, we lose sight of what is truly important. But when you slow down, when you stop rushing, you find clarity. You are able to connect more deeply with what you want out of life and how you want to achieve it. There is no rush, no urgency, just the understanding that everything will unfold in its own time and that your progress, no matter how slow, is enough. You are enough. Moving at your own pace is not about avoiding hard work or slowing down your ambitions. It is about acknowledging that your journey is not meant to be a sprint. It is a marathon, and marathons are won with patience, perseverance, and consistency. The key is to stop measuring your success against others and start measuring it against your own growth, your own lessons, and your own happiness. The journey is yours, and it will unfold in its own time, at its own pace, as long as you stay true to it and trust the process. Celebrating every step of your journey, no matter how small, is a powerful act of self-appreciation. Too often, we get so focused on the end goal that we forget to acknowledge the little victories along the way. It's easy to get caught in the mindset that success is only measured by reaching a big milestone, like landing the dream job, finishing a huge project, or achieving a financial goal. But the truth is, the journey is made up of countless smaller steps, and those small steps are what ultimately lead to your bigger accomplishments. Each small win, no matter how insignificant it may seem in the moment, is a part of your larger story, and it deserves to be celebrated. When we take the time to recognize our progress, we shift our mindset from one of lack to one of abundance. We stop focusing on what we haven't achieved yet, and instead start appreciating what we have already done. This mindset shift not only boosts our confidence, but also helps us stay motivated. Every little step forward is proof that we are making progress, even if it doesn't always feel like it. And these small wins are what fuel us to keep going, to continue striving toward our larger goals. It's the tiny victories, the phone call made, the page written, the task completed that add up over time and ultimately create the foundation for bigger successes. Celebrating small wins also helps us stay grounded. In a world where success is often measured by external achievements, it can be easy to lose sight of what really matters. The small wins remind us that success isn't just about the destination, it's about the process. It's about the effort we put in, the lessons we learn, and the growth we experience. When we take the time to celebrate these moments, we begin to appreciate the journey itself. It becomes less about the outcome and more about the personal evolution that takes place along the way. Another benefit of celebrating your progress is that it strengthens your sense of self-worth. We are often our own harshest critics, quick to dismiss our achievements and focus only on our failures. But by celebrating small victories, we affirm our value. We acknowledge that we are capable, that we are moving forward, and that we are worthy of success. This affirmation is incredibly powerful because it reinforces the belief that we are deserving of our goals. It's easy to doubt ourselves, especially when the road is tough, but taking time to recognize our achievements reminds us that we are on the right path. In addition to boosting self-esteem, celebrating small wins can also help us build momentum. Momentum is the energy that propels us forward, and it is often built from the small steps we take along the way. When we celebrate each win, we create a positive feedback loop. The more we acknowledge our progress, the more motivated we become, and the more likely we are to continue taking action. This momentum can carry us through the tougher moments when things seem to slow down or when we encounter setbacks. It reminds us that even when progress feels slow, it is still progress. Sometimes it's easy to overlook the small victories, especially when we are overwhelmed by bigger challenges or long-term goals. But these moments are the building blocks of success. They remind us that we are making progress, even if we can't always see it. They help us stay present in the moment rather than always looking ahead to the future, and they encourage us to stay consistent, to keep going, and to trust the process. It's also important to recognize that celebrating small wins doesn't have to be a grand event. It can be something as simple as taking a moment to reflect on what you've accomplished, giving yourself a pat on the back, or treating yourself to something small that brings you joy. The key is to recognize the value of your efforts and to acknowledge that each step, no matter how small, is a victory in itself. This practice helps you stay connected to your journey, making it feel more meaningful and rewarding. Celebrating every step of your journey allows you to enjoy the process rather than just focusing on the destination. It encourages you to take pride in your progress, no matter how small, and reinforces the idea that success is not just about reaching a goal, but about the person you become along the way. By acknowledging and appreciating the small victories, you build a stronger, more resilient mindset that will carry you through the ups and downs of your journey. Letting go of the need for validation is a transformative step toward personal growth and fulfillment. In today's world, we are constantly bombarded with opinions, judgments, and expectations from others. From social media likes to the approval of family, friends, and colleagues, it can sometimes feel like our worth is based on external recognition. The constant pursuit of validation can create an unhealthy cycle where our happiness and sense of achievement are reliant on the approval of others. This dependency often leads to self-doubt, insecurity, and a lack of authenticity. To truly focus on your journey, It's essential to break free from this need for validation and begin trusting yourself. The first step in letting go of external validation is recognizing that your worth is not determined by others' opinions. This realization is freeing because it allows you to stop seeking constant reassurance from the outside world. When we base our self-worth on others' approval, we give away our power. We become more concerned with how we are perceived than with how we actually feel about ourselves. Over time, this can lead to a loss of confidence and a constant fear of judgment. It's important to understand that no one else can define who you are or what you are capable of achieving. Your worth comes from within, and only you have the right to determine your value. One of the most powerful aspects of letting go of validation is learning to trust your own judgment. We often seek advice from others, which is natural, but when we rely too heavily on external opinions, we begin to doubt our own instincts and abilities. Trusting yourself means recognizing that you have the strength and wisdom to make decisions that align with your values and goals. While feedback from others can be helpful, it should not be the sole determinant of your actions. When you trust your own judgment, you give yourself the freedom to make mistakes, learn from them, and grow without the fear of disappointing anyone else. This self-trust allows you to make decisions based on what feels right for you, rather than based on what others expect or think. Another aspect of letting go of validation is learning to be comfortable with not always being liked or accepted. As human beings, we have an inherent desire to belong, and we often modify our behavior to gain acceptance or approval from those around us. However, this can lead to a loss of authenticity. When we constantly try to please others, we suppress our true selves and diminish our sense of individuality. It's important to realize that you cannot please everyone, and that's okay. Being true to yourself, even if it means not being liked by everyone, is more valuable than seeking approval from others at the cost of your authenticity. True fulfillment comes from being who you truly are, regardless of whether others accept it or not. Letting go of validation also means recognizing that success is not about pleasing others, but about meeting your own standards. It's easy to become fixated on external markers of success, such as promotions, accolades, or praise from others. While these things can be fulfilling in the short term, they do not bring lasting happiness. True success is personal and should be measured by your own growth, progress, and sense of fulfillment. When you shift your focus from seeking validation to setting and achieving your own goals, you begin to experience a deeper sense of satisfaction. Success becomes something you define for yourself, rather than something others define for you. When you let go of the need for validation, you open the door to true self-love and acceptance. Often, we look for validation from others because we don't feel good enough on our own. We believe that if others approve of us, then we must be worthy of love and respect. However, the truth is that self-worth cannot be contingent on others. It must come from within. When you stop seeking external validation, you start to develop a deeper sense of self-acceptance. You recognize that you are enough just as you are, without the need for constant praise or approval from others. This self-love creates a solid foundation for your journey, allowing you to move forward with confidence and authenticity. Letting go of validation allows you to embrace the freedom of pursuing your dreams on your own terms. When you are no longer concerned with what others think, you are free to pursue what truly matters to you, whether it's a career change, a creative passion, or a personal goal. You no longer feel the need to conform to societal expectations or follow a path because others expect you to. Instead, you can carve out your own path, one that aligns with your values and aspirations. This freedom enables you to fully invest in your journey without the fear of judgment or failure. You begin to realize that your worth is not tied to external outcomes, but to the courage to follow your own path and embrace your uniqueness. The road to success is never without its challenges. We all face obstacles, setbacks, and moments of doubt. However, it is in these very challenges that we find our strength, resilience, and perseverance. Every obstacle that comes our way offers us an opportunity to grow, learn, and become better versions of ourselves. The road might not always be smooth, and there will be times when it feels like progress has come to a standstill. But it is essential to remember that these obstacles are not barriers. They are stepping stones to the person we are meant to become. Challenges often feel uncomfortable. They test our patience, our skills, and our determination. When faced with difficulties, it is easy to get discouraged and wonder if we are on the right path. We might even feel like giving up because the journey seems too hard, too long, or too uncertain. But it is in these moments of difficulty that we often find our greatest potential. It is when things get tough that we discover what we are truly made of. Overcoming challenges teaches us the power of perseverance and how to keep moving forward despite the odds. One of the most important things to remember when facing challenges is that they are not permanent. Just as storms come and go, so too do the challenges we face. There will always be ups and downs on the journey, but each setback is temporary. What matters most is how we respond to those setbacks. Do we allow them to define us, or do we use them as opportunities to prove our strength? The way we respond to challenges often determines our success. If we face them head on, learn from them, and adjust our approach, we come out on the other side stronger and more equipped to handle future challenges. Another aspect of overcoming obstacles is the ability to adapt. The road to success is rarely a straight line. It is filled with twists, turns, and detours. Sometimes the way we thought we would go is blocked, and we must find an alternate route. This requires flexibility and the willingness to change direction when needed. Adaptability is a crucial skill because it allows us to navigate unexpected changes without losing sight of our ultimate goals. Rather than viewing obstacles as barriers, we can see them as opportunities to explore new paths and learn new ways of doing things. Adaptability also helps us stay open to new ideas and perspectives, which can lead to innovative solutions to the problems we face. The beauty of overcoming challenges is that they provide us with valuable life lessons. Each obstacle teaches us something about ourselves and the world around us. It could be the importance of patience, the value of persistence, or the power of collaboration. Sometimes the lessons are less obvious, but they are always there, shaping us into the individuals we are becoming. These lessons are what help us navigate future challenges with more wisdom and insight. The more challenges we overcome, the more resilient we become, and the better equipped we are to handle the next obstacle that comes our way. As we move through life, it is important to remember that challenges are not something to fear. They are an inevitable part of the journey and a necessary component of growth. Without challenges, we would never learn to stretch beyond our comfort zones. We would never discover our true potential. In fact, it is through overcoming challenges that we achieve the greatest breakthroughs. Success is not defined by the absence of obstacles, but by the ability to rise above them. The more challenges we face and overcome, the more we realize that we are capable of achieving far more than we initially believed. It is also essential to recognize that facing challenges does not mean we have to do it alone. While the journey may be personal, there are often people around us who are willing to offer support, advice, and encouragement. Sometimes seeking help from others can provide us with the perspective and strength we need to continue moving forward. Collaboration can make challenges feel less daunting because we can share the burden and draw strength from one another. Reaching out to others is not a sign of weakness, but a sign of wisdom and courage. It is not the challenges themselves that define us, but how we respond to them. Challenges are inevitable, but so is our ability to rise above them. When we view obstacles as opportunities for growth, we change our entire perspective on life. Instead of seeing difficulties as setbacks, we begin to see them as catalysts for our personal evolution. Every challenge we face is a chance to prove to ourselves that we are capable, that we are resilient, and that we are worthy of the success we are working toward. Through every obstacle, we are forging a stronger, more capable version of ourselves. Enjoying the process rather than fixating solely on the destination is a perspective that can significantly enrich your journey. Too often, we become so focused on the outcome, the goal at the end, that we overlook the small moments that make the journey worthwhile. It is easy to get lost in the idea that happiness will only come when we reach the finish line, but this mindset can rob us of the joy and fulfillment that exist in the present. The truth is, the journey itself is where most of the growth, learning, and satisfaction happen. By learning to appreciate the process, we begin to see that the value of any goal lies in the steps we take to reach it, not just in the achievement of the goal itself. When you enjoy the process, you become more attuned to the little victories that occur along the way. These victories are not always grand. Sometimes they are small, seemingly insignificant moments. It might be a conversation that inspires you, a lesson learned from a mistake, or even the satisfaction of completing a small task that brings you closer to your larger goal. These are the moments that add richness to your journey. They are easy to overlook when your focus is entirely on the future, but when you take the time to recognize and appreciate them, they begin to transform the way you experience life. It is these moments that make the journey meaningful. Enjoying the process also means embracing the challenges that come with it. Every journey has its ups and downs, and it's easy to get frustrated or discouraged when things don't go as planned. However, when you shift your perspective and start to see challenges as part of the adventure, they lose their power to discourage you. Instead, you begin to see them as opportunities to grow and improve. Whether it's learning something new, developing resilience, or simply realizing your own strength, the challenges you face become integral parts of the process that you can learn to enjoy. They become stepping stones, not obstacles. When we become overly fixated on the end result, we often miss out on the joys of the present moment. There is beauty in the small, everyday experiences that make up our lives. Whether it's the satisfaction of ticking off a to-do list item, the joy of spending time with loved ones, or the quiet moments of reflection, these are the experiences that bring true happiness. The journey is filled with these moments, and if we are too focused on what lies ahead, we risk missing them entirely. By shifting our focus to the present, we open ourselves to the richness of life and start to enjoy the process of living, not just the destination. Another benefit of enjoying the process is that it fosters mindfulness. Being present in the moment allows us to fully experience and engage with our journey. Rather than worrying about what's coming next or obsessing over what we haven't achieved yet, we begin to appreciate the current moment for what it is. This mindfulness can bring a sense of calm and balance to our lives, reducing stress and increasing overall well-being. When we let go of the pressure to always be moving forward, we make space to simply exist in the present. This shift in perspective can make the journey feel less like a race and more like a fulfilling experience. Enjoying the process means that you are more likely to stay consistent in your efforts. When you find joy in the steps you take, you are less likely to become discouraged by setbacks. You don't see them as failures, but as part of the adventure. This consistency is what ultimately leads to success. It's the ability to keep going, to keep showing up, even when progress feels slow or when things don't go according to plan. When you enjoy the process, you are more willing to invest time and energy into the journey because you aren't just focused on the end result. You are focused on the experience of growing, learning, and evolving along the way. Enjoying the process leads to greater self-awareness and self-discovery. As you navigate your journey, you learn more about your strengths, weaknesses, desires, and passions. The process of pursuing a goal becomes a mirror through which you can better understand yourself. This self-awareness is crucial because it helps you make decisions that align with your true values and aspirations. It also helps you recognize when a goal is no longer serving you, giving you the freedom to pivot or change direction without guilt or regret. By enjoying the process, you become more in tune with who you are and what truly matters to you, making your journey more authentic and fulfilling. When you stop viewing the journey as a means to an end and start viewing it as an end in itself, you unlock the true potential of your experiences. The destination becomes secondary to the richness of the path that leads there. Life is not about ticking off goals one by one. It's about the moments you experience along the way, the lessons you learn, and the person you become. By learning to enjoy the process, you create a journey that is meaningful, fulfilling, and full of joy, no matter what the destination may be. Owning your story is one of the most powerful and liberating things you can do. Often, we try to hide parts of our journey, or we let the judgments of others dictate how we perceive ourselves. We allow the past to define us, letting our mistakes or misfortunes become the narrative we carry around. But when we truly own our story, we take control of how we view ourselves and how we move forward. Our past, with all its ups and downs, is an essential part of who we are, but it does not have to be the story we continue to tell ourselves. Instead of being defined by the past, we can learn from it, grow from it, and move forward in a way that aligns with our true selves. Owning your story means acknowledging every part of it. It means being honest with yourself about where you've been, what you've experienced, and how it has shaped you. This requires vulnerability, because it's not always easy to confront the aspects of ourselves or our lives that we would rather ignore. There may be moments of shame or regret, but when we own our story, we allow ourselves the space to accept those moments as part of our journey, not as something to be ashamed of. Every setback, every failure, every challenge we've faced is a part of what has made us stronger, wiser, and more resilient. It is these very experiences that give us the depth and perspective we need to grow. When we own our story, we stop apologizing for who we are. Too often, we shrink ourselves in the presence of others, thinking we need to be someone else to be accepted or loved. But the truth is, our authentic selves are the only version of ourselves that will bring us true fulfillment. Owning your story means accepting yourself as you are, with all your imperfections, flaws, and strengths. It means understanding that you are enough just as you are, and that you don't need to change or conform to anyone else's expectations to be worthy. The more we embrace our true selves, the more confident and grounded we become. Part of owning your story is also recognizing the power of choice. We are not defined by the circumstances of our past, but by how we respond to them. While we can't always control what happens to us, we have the power to choose how we react, how we move forward, and what we learn from each experience. This realization is incredibly empowering. It shifts the focus from being a victim of our circumstances to becoming the active author of our lives. Owning your story means taking responsibility for the choices you make, the lessons you learn, and the direction in which you choose to go. It is not about dwelling on past mistakes, but about recognizing that you have the ability to make new choices every single day. Another aspect of owning your story is letting go of the need for external validation. It's easy to look for approval from others, to seek out recognition or praise for our achievements, but when we focus on external validation, we give away our sense of self-worth. When we own our story, we stop seeking approval from others and instead find validation within ourselves. We stop relying on the opinions of others to define our value and begin to trust our own judgment and instincts. The more we learn to validate ourselves, the more confident and self-assured we become. We no longer need to look to others for reassurance because we know who we are and what we are capable of. Owning your story also means accepting that the journey is not linear. There will be setbacks, there will be times when things don't go as planned, and there will be moments of doubt. But all of this is part of the process. The path to becoming who you are meant to be is rarely a straight line. There will be twists, turns, and detours, but each of these moments is valuable. When we own our story, we stop beating ourselves up over mistakes and instead view them as opportunities for growth. We learn that failure is not the end of the road, but a part of the process that helps us move closer to who we are meant to become. Furthermore, owning your story empowers you to share your experiences with others. When we embrace our journey, with all its highs and lows, we create space for others to do the same. Our vulnerability becomes a strength, allowing us to connect with others on a deeper level. Sharing our stories can inspire others, help them feel less alone, and remind them that they too can overcome their challenges. By owning your story, you open the door for others to own theirs, creating a ripple effect of authenticity and empowerment. In the end, owning your story means being the hero of your own narrative. It means taking full ownership of your life, your choices, and your future. It means no longer allowing the opinions of others or the circumstances of your past to control how you see yourself. Instead, it is about embracing every part of your journey with pride, knowing that each experience, each challenge, and each triumph has contributed to the person you are today. By owning your story, you give yourself the freedom to live authentically, to move forward with confidence, and to embrace the person you are becoming. Celebrating every step of your journey, no matter how small, is a powerful act of self-appreciation. Too often, we get so focused on the end goal that we forget to acknowledge the little victories along the way. It's easy to get caught in the mindset that success is only measured by reaching a big milestone, like landing the dream job, finishing a huge project, or achieving a financial goal. But the truth is, the journey is made up of countless smaller steps, and those small steps are what ultimately lead to your bigger accomplishments. Each small win, no matter how insignificant it may seem in the moment, is a part of your larger story, and it deserves to be celebrated. When we take the time to recognize our progress, we shift our mindset from one of lack to one of abundance. We stop focusing on what we haven't achieved yet, and instead start appreciating what we have already done. This mindset shift not only boosts our confidence, but also helps us stay motivated. Every little step forward is proof that we are making progress, even if it doesn't always feel like it. And these small wins are what fuel us to keep going, to continue striving toward our larger goals. It's the tiny victories, the phone call made, the page written, the task completed that add up over time and ultimately create the foundation for bigger successes. Celebrating small wins also helps us stay grounded. In a world where success is often measured by external achievements, it can be easy to lose sight of what really matters. The small wins remind us that success isn't just about the destination, it's about the process. It's about the effort we put in, the lessons we learn, and the growth we experience. When we take the time to celebrate these moments, we begin to appreciate the journey itself. It becomes less about the outcome and more about the personal evolution that takes place along the way. Another benefit of celebrating your progress is that it strengthens your sense of self-worth. We are often our own harshest critics, quick to dismiss our achievements and focus only on our failures. But by celebrating small victories, we affirm our value. We acknowledge that we are capable, that we are moving forward, and that we are worthy of success. This affirmation is incredibly powerful because it reinforces the belief that we are deserving of our goals. It's easy to doubt ourselves, especially when the road is tough, but taking time to recognize our achievements reminds us that we are on the right path. In addition to boosting self-esteem, Celebrating small wins can also help us build momentum. Momentum is the energy that propels us forward, and it is often built from the small steps we take along the way. When we celebrate each win, we create a positive feedback loop. The more we acknowledge our progress, the more motivated we become, and the more likely we are to continue taking action. This momentum can carry us through the tougher moments when things seem to slow down or when we encounter setbacks. It reminds us that even when progress feels slow, it is still progress. Sometimes it's easy to overlook the small victories, especially when we are overwhelmed by bigger challenges or long-term goals. But these moments are the building blocks of success. They remind us that we are making progress, even if we can't always see it. They help us stay present in the moment, rather than always looking ahead to the future, and they encourage us to stay consistent, to keep going, and to trust the process. It's also important to recognize that celebrating small wins doesn't have to be a grand event. It can be something as simple as taking a moment to reflect on what you've accomplished, giving yourself a pat on the back, or treating yourself to something small that brings you joy. The key is to recognize the value of your efforts and to acknowledge that each step, no matter how small, is a victory in itself. This practice helps you stay connected to your journey, making it feel more meaningful and rewarding. Celebrating every step of your journey allows you to enjoy the process rather than just focusing on the destination. It encourages you to take pride in your progress, no matter how small, and reinforces the idea that success is not just about reaching a goal, but about the person you become along the way. By acknowledging and appreciating the small victories, you build a stronger, more resilient mindset that will carry you through the ups and downs of your journey.